Good morning, everyone. How are you all doing? My name is Amanda Ellis, and a very warm welcome to my channel. If you have found this video, and if you intend to watch this video, which I strongly encourage you to do, it will be your higher self and your soul that has called you to be here with me and this community right now. We live in an increasingly chaotic, disordered, dysfunctional, toxic, overloaded, overwhelming world. You have the power, you have the ability to be able to get yourself back into balance at any time that you feel as though you're tipping out of balance, out of peace, and into deregulation. Your body being out of sync, your mind being out of sync, your spirit maybe being out of sync with your true, authentic self, which is one of love, one of peace, and came here with everything that you need to get you through these days, the weeks, the months, the year to come, and indeed your whole time during this incarnation. It's rare that we allow ourselves an opportunity to just stop and to breathe. And my intention with this video is to give you an opportunity to do that. And I'm going to be sharing some of the things that I have been doing recently, which many of you may also do. It might be a refresher in terms of tips and tools and techniques to help you get yourself back into balance. It may just be an opportunity to sit in the energy of this video where we're going to pull in many loving angelic energies. Archangel Metatron, my main guide, Jesus, another one of my main guides, is always here streaming through my videos. But also we're going to bring in three archangels. Archangel Chamuel, who is about love and peace. Archangel Zadkiel, who is about many things, but we're going to be bringing in the energy of forgiveness, and in particular, forgiveness to yourself, giving yourself permission. We'll get into that in a moment. And the third archangel is likely to be Archangel Raphael on the green ray, which is the ray of harmony, balance, healing, and growth. Because the truth is, we can't grow from a highly stressed or highly stagnant place. And my feelings are that society is, for whatever reason, trying to keep us in a stressed, overstimulated place. Now, the world is busy. It's not going to get any less busy anytime soon. The stimulation that is out there aimed at all of our senses, our sight, what we can hear, what we can smell, what we can taste, what we can sense, is only going to heighten. So as empathic beings, as sensitive beings, we need to learn how to navigate this world as souls that came here to experience all that this earth has to offer, but equally to be as well, as healthy and as balanced as we possibly can be, so that we can enjoy all that there is to enjoy. I made a conscious decision about a week ago to switch off. Now, it's interesting when you say switch off, because I feel as though there is a perception out there that when we say we're going to just roll back a bit, stop for a while, switch off, whatever the words are that work for you, there is this impression that then you go and lie in a darkened room for a week, do nothing. And that's not a reality that many people can have in their life, because we have responsibilities, we have duties to others, to ourselves, that keep on going through all of the days of any year. And this is a good thing in many ways, because it gives structure to our lives, and it also helps us get into balance, assuming that we are doing things to be able to cope with those duties and responsibilities. So for me, stepping back for a little while meant not appearing, for example, on social media for a week. It doesn't seem like a big thing, but actually when you take your energy back, you appreciate how much energy you give, maybe, in showing up, whether that be on social media, whether that be in any other area of your life. We all show up in different ways, and we don't appreciate the amount of energy it takes to do so until we decide to just pause, press the pause button. But Metatron is saying when you do that, what also happens is you reset yourself. What you do is you reset yourself back into balance. So for me, what I did, and I'm going to share this because I feel it will help many of you, is I gave myself permission to potter, to potter, to do the jobs that I could do in the background, as it were, that still required doing, but didn't require as much of my energy as other things that maybe I felt I should be doing, could be doing, or people wanted me to be doing. It also coincided with just a week where I felt quite run down anyway. Had a bit of a bug, which I'm through now, but I didn't feel particularly well. But again, wellness can be that red flag that says to us, if we're wise, just stop for a moment, pause, because unless you do, that turns into something deeper. It goes deeper within the body, and you don't want that, do you? So I allowed myself to say no, to potter, to catch up on jobs that needed doing, including work jobs, because anybody that runs a business knows that you can't just ever really completely stop. There's always something. The engine is always humming to a degree. So I caught up on a lot of stuff, a lot of admin, and also attended to my home and myself. And I'd like to come back, as I say now, and just share some of the things that really helped me this past week, and hopefully will help you. Because what we all need to do in this life is have periods where we appreciate that we might be out of balance. And as I say, this can happen in many different ways. It could be mentally, it could be physically, it could be spiritually, it could be emotionally, it could be in any area of your life. You just sense there's an imbalance. And I kept being shown the Temperance card in my mind's eye through the past week. And I'll talk about this particular card. This is from the Angel Tarot in a moment. So it's quite interesting that in this depiction, Temperance is the angel of peace, which feels very Chamuel to me. But I also got a new deck this week. I got a couple of new decks, actually. One of them is a deck, very small little deck called Avalon Magic. And I'm going to use this in some work coming up relatively soon about, Knights of the Round Table and Avalon. But anyway, I pulled one for myself, and it was just so perfect because I got this card. And again, it just said, spend time reclaiming your balance. There you will find peace. The first thing to say to you and to myself is that there's nothing to be ashamed of when we find we are out of balance. Indeed, the human condition and modern life will put you out of balance. The problem is that most people don't realise that they are. And then when they might realise that they are, they don't allow themselves the time to come back into balance. So, number one, let go of any judgment you might feel about yourself when you feel unbalanced to any degree. I would also say that as well as modern life, of course, we live in times of ascension and awakening, and much is being rattled in our world and in the earth. This shaking of the earth to a degree, whether that be physical or whether that be in old structures falling down, also by nature puts us out of balance. It's as though our physical body is always trying to get back into a state of a strong foundation during times where we have the tower falling. And the tower falling, we know, and you know if you watch me regularly, is about all of the things that are having to make way for the new, old structures falling. This is going to continue for some years hence, has already been happening for a while. And it's a bit like trying to find your feet on moving sand. And it's really interesting to me that this Temperance card, I've never really properly looked at where it comes before in the actual major arcana of the tarot. What is it between? Because the card of balance, Temperance, is actually between, it comes just after the Death card, which is the card of, in this deck, transformation, rebirth. And it comes just before the Devil card, which is the card in this deck, which is called the Angel of Freedom, which I rather like. I'll get the cards out in a moment. But so slotted in between the energy of death and rebirth, and actually what Metatron is saying is that death is all around us all the time. Death of the old ways is around us right now as a world. We ourselves are, sounds a bit bleak this, but really ultimately on a dying star. One day this world will not be here anymore. We ourselves ultimately will die. Everybody will die. Everything dies. But it's how do you find the balance whilst you are alive and vibrant and here without being caught in the devil's snare? And the devil's snare to me really feels as though it's this energy that's out there which is about trying to keep us trapped, whether it be in fear, whether it be in any lower energy. And I tell you what, and I'm sure many of you will agree with me if you've done this exercise yourself and just come away from the world, just for a week or so or longer. And as I say, it doesn't mean having to be a complete hermit and hiding away. You can still engage to a degree, but when you've pulled back your energy, let's put it that way. And when you then come back into the world, you see so clearly the manipulation, the attempts to keep us down, basically, with regards to particularly like media. It's particularly media, but other things as well. Media is a big part of it because even if you don't watch media, even if you haven't seen a film in years, you don't watch the TV, you don't watch the news, you never look at a billboard or advertisement in a magazine or newspaper, you still do get the energy that's out there because you can't not. Because words, pictures, stories, twisting of stories, fear porn, as I like to call it, is out there as an energy. And we soak it up, even if we're not necessarily reading it or seeing it. We're picking it up, maybe it's in the air, but equally we're picking it up from other people that we come into contact with, who hold that energy of what they've just read or what they've just seen. And it's very clear to many of us with eyes really open that what, the media, as one example, are trying to do is divide us, is put us into two separate camps. And as I say, it's only when you come away from it and then you go back into it, and you've only got to go onto any social media page, any newspaper column, any comment section, and you will see people, as we know, attacking each other, trying ego basically on display to a huge degree. I'm right, you're wrong, don't you know this, don't you know that, etc. Now, there's a time and a place, of course, for education. There's a time and a place for bringing awareness. But for awareness to happen and for information to be processed properly and integrated and then acted upon can only really be achievable from a strong foundation, from a balanced place. To not be rocked basically by this sort of devil energy that's in town, and also to be able to pick yourself up from the ashes of that rebirth moment and the death moment that we're all going through. Now, I'm just going to try and find the two cards, because it's quite an interesting deck, this, and it is one that obviously I've been asked to use for a particular reason. The death card in this deck is depicted as an archangel. It would be Archangel Azrael. And there she sits with the scythe and the poppies, but the sun is above her head. Okay, so nothing ever really dies. Nothing is ever truly wasted. And the devil in this deck is the angel of freedom, because very much like how it's depicted in the Christ consciousness deck, my deck, the devil is there to give you the choice point, to give you the opportunity to say, no, I choose the light. I don't choose the darkness. I choose to let go of the shackles that are trying to bind me and the energies that are trying to bind me. And I am going to come back into this place of balance. Whatever is going on in the world, whatever tower moments are happening, I will stay like the mountain, secure, strong, and able to withstand everything. Okay, so the card of Temperance is important. And actually, before we get to some of the things that I've been looking at this week and things that have been helping me, let's just bring in Archangel Chamuel, because Chamuel feels very linked into this Temperance card. So within the sprays that we sell, Chamuel comes in on the pink ray. It says love and peace, and it's to do with relationship support. But really, where I'm coming from in this video is you can say that our outer relationships reflect our inner relationship with ourself. And the most important relationship you actually have in life is with yourself. That doesn't mean narcissism, okay? That doesn't mean overt ego. That just means getting to a place of balance whereby we love ourselves enough to be able to, for example, say no, to achieve what we came in to achieve, to know that we're worthy of what we're meant to receive with regards to blessings, etc. But the relationship that we have with ourselves. And when we are out of balance, I can guarantee that the relationship that you have with yourself somewhere along the line has got distorted. Okay, so let's bring in Chamuel and the pink ray before we move on. Let me just spray this. So welcoming in the energy of Archangel Chamuel, and just welcome Chamuel into your presence with that pink ray. Feel that pink ray really coming in behind you like the most beautiful soft pink cloud. But this soft pink cloud also has support. It's what I'm being shown. It's the energy of, if you were to fall back, this pink cloud would catch you. This pink energy is always behind you, and it's the energy of love. So when you feel as though you've messed up, when you feel as though you've made a mistake, when you feel as though you could have done better, when you're beating yourself up because you haven't been able to achieve a goal that you set yourself, or you've fallen off the ladder, as it were, with regards to a new habit or something you're trying to do to better yourself, love will always support you and put you back up on your feet. Love will never scold you. Love will help you to get back to that place of balance and acceptance within yourself, and love within yourself. So Chamuel just comes in today as this very strong, loving force who wants you to be able to look yourself in the mirror and love yourself. A very hard technique for many people to do, but I encourage you to do it every morning, to look into the mirror and to say, I love and accept myself. I truly love and accept myself. I love and accept myself, even though I have flaws. I love and accept myself, even though I've made these mistakes. I love and accept myself because I know that I am trying to be a better person every single day. I just love and accept myself unconditionally. So that pink ray feels very, very important. So I'm just going to read you some of the notes now that I have made through this week. So the first thing I wrote is refinding balance. And I've put time, permission to put self first, saying no, catching up on the backlog, as I said, the power of pottering, that could be a book, maybe it already is, clearing space. And let me just pick up a couple of those things that I haven't maybe articulated as well as I think I could do. Just want to go into this thing about catching up on backlog. You don't, and I don't always appreciate the pressure that comes from all of the unfinished tasks that we haven't done. Whether that be something around the home, whether it be a piece of work that's been left hanging in the air and you intend to come back to it, but you keep putting it off and you never do. What it does is it builds up. It's almost like contrary to what we've just felt with Chamuel, with this beautiful pink cloud of support. It's like this black, heavy cloud that we hang around with us, which is like scolding us and reprimanding us. You haven't done that. You haven't done this. You said you were going to do that. You said you were going to go there. Why haven't you done this? Why haven't you done that? You know, the curtains still need hanging up. The wall still needs painting. Blah, 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 blah. It goes on. And of course, we will always have a to-do list. It's unrealistic to think you're never going to have things to do. I'm talking about just getting on with the stuff that has been sitting there for a long time, demanding attention for whatever reason. It's only demanding attention because for whatever reason, it's important for you. It's important for you. And this thing about clearing space as well is important because I really truly believe that balance is it's an inner state. It's then reflected outward. But again, if you're living in a very messy house, you've got a messy office, a messy desk, that doesn't help you to get back to a place of balance because you're trying to work from a place of chaos. Now, I know some of the great, creative geniuses of our time say, no, I need that chaos to create whatever it is I'm going to do. Well, maybe for a select few that is true, but for most of us mere mortals, it is important. And I am filming this in Virgo season, so it's like a Virgo energy coming through. And remember, we have a bit of everything in us, even if you haven't got Virgo in your chart, because we are all connected. What you have an absence of ultimately is out there in the collective anyway. And you're either going to be married to a Virgo, you're going to have a friend as a Virgo, you're going to have a pet as a Virgo, you're going to have a boss as a Virgo, you're going to have somebody who, a shopkeeper as a Virgo, and so it goes on. We are all so connected. So yeah, it is this Virgo energy, but I do believe a clear space, a clear mind helps. Okay. And then when you've got a clear mind, you can also help to clear up your body, etc. Because you can't work on your body, or a lot of people find it hard to work on your body and carry through healthy habits if your mind's not clear. Okay, so it all starts from this place of clarity, cleanliness, simplicity. Interestingly, I mean, I'm never going to emulate this lady because it's not my role in this life to emulate this lady, and she does it extremely well anyway. But I found it very inspiring to watch one particular YouTube channel this week. Well, a couple, but I'll tell you about them. One, somebody I've never heard of before. She's called Scandish Home. I'll link her below. She basically, her channel is just about, it's a homemaking channel, but she does it so beautifully. She's there potting her, it appeals to my Cancerian heart, okay? She's potting up her pickles and her, the vegetables from her garden, and her home looks very beautiful, but very simplistic. It's not overly materialistic. It's rustic. It's beautiful, but it's rustic. It's very Scandinavian, it's that type of feel. But it's all about the colours, the textures. More than anything, watching her videos this week brought me into a place of calm and peace. I could feel that energy coming from her. and I received it with grateful thanks. Is my home going to look like hers all the time? No, very, very doubtful. But I can take a couple of little bits that I, took from it and do that, So that was one thing. But anyway, before we go on, let me just go back to my list. Let me make sure I've talked about what I wanted to talk to. I will say about saying no as well. I mean, sometimes we say no to things that really would have loved to have done, but we just don't have the fuel in our tank to do it as well. Because when we say, I'm going to say no, people, again, can often think it's just about the things I didn't want to do anyway, or it's the stuff that, great excuse, don't have to do that. I actually had to say no to something this last week, which I would have loved to have done. And you know me, those that follow me a long time, you know how much I love Mark Armand. And I'd had tickets to see Mark in Brighton for the whole year. I was going to go with a friend I hadn't seen for 6 years. And I had to cancel. She still went with her husband, so the tickets weren't wasted. I will go again. I've seen Mark many times anyway. But the point was, I didn't feel well enough to go. And I just knew that I didn't have it in my tank to get on the train, 6 hours travelling, would have been there and back. And I just didn't feel well enough. So I was honest and I told her how I felt. And it was interesting as well what it brought up, because yes, I was upset that I couldn't go to the concert because it was something I'd have loved to have done. But equally, I knew I was also putting myself first in that moment. I should have known my friend well enough to know she would never judge me for it. And she actually said to me, I said, I feel so guilty letting you down. Because the whole guilt thing comes up sometimes, doesn't it, when we say no? I feel so guilty letting you down. And then I felt a bit like trying to judge myself. Why did I have to get ill this week of all weeks? I wanted to do this. And then I thought, no, you just got to put yourself first. You've just got to do everything I'm talking about in this video. And she said to me, it still makes me feel a little bit emotional to say it to you. She said, Amanda, I know your heart. And she said, I know your heart. And she said, I know you wouldn't have let me down unless you needed. I hadn't let her down. She knew that. That's what I'm trying to say. I know your heart. And that's the thing. It's about letting go of guilt as well. And this is where the energy of forgiveness comes in. Because, and I'll bring Archangel Zadkiel into this with the purple ray, because forgiveness was also coming up a lot this week for me for all sorts of reasons, not just for the example I've said to you, but forgiving ourselves maybe for the times when we have overdone, overgiven, put ourselves last. And, often as mothers, as parents, we do that. As bosses, we can do that. As, anybody, we can do that, can't we? But, the person that ultimately suffers is yourself. We know that. We know it, but yet we don't sometimes do anything about it. So this is, for me, has been a week, but again, I'm going to try and model it going forward as well. It's been a real breakthrough energy, and it feels like, what I'm trying to say, it's upgrade energy. It's upgrade energy as well. But yeah, this thing about forgiveness. Let me just spray the Zadkiel and see what I want to say about that. I have written a few notes here. I've put forgiveness to self. It's where we're hard on ourselves. That I should be able to do that. I should be able to go and do that. Why can't I do that? It's about lacking self-compassion, isn't it? And I just think forgiveness is the thing that helps us to remove that program that wants to keep spinning like an old record, round and round and round, to move on from it. So let's bring in Zadkiel. And if you are resonating with what I'm saying, I'm sure many of you are, because what I'm talking about is a very human condition. Let's bring in the energy of forgiveness. But with Archangel Zadkiel, the other thing with the purple ray is it's not just forgiveness, but it's transmutation, okay? Because we need to clear out these old, I was going to say energies, but I'm actually hearing particles. It's like particles of old residue of how we've been in the past in terms of maybe always putting ourselves bottom of the pile. I'm wondering a little bit whether this is generational. It might not be. I think it's probably relevant for all generations, but I do think my generation, for example, Generation Z, what am I, Generation X? No, I'm Generation Z. I don't know what I am, whatever I am. I'm Generation X, I'm Gen X. It was this, we grew up with this expectation, certainly in my country, of you need to do. And I've talked about this before. You need to keep doing. You need to keep succeeding. You know, I graduated college and it was during the yuppie era, you know, the Thatcher years. It was like, go and make a success of yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. I believe in ambition, but not at the expense of yourself. Where is the kernel of who you actually are within yourself? That's what you need to find. And anything else that's just been sort of floating around the ethers, as it were, that is telling you to keep doing at the expense of self, we are letting that go with this purple ray. Okay, so let's bring in Archangel Zadkiel. And it's really interesting how just the energies are coming in so differently. With Chamuel, I was feeling it behind, like this big, lovely, soft cushion, cloud. Zadkiel is showing me like this great big, what only looks a bit like one of those things that you clear the toilet out with, you know, the suction things. And it's just like this great big purple thing that coming down and just like sucking up all of that old energy. And it's, for me, it might be different for you. I'm feeling it more around the mind, because it's a mind pattern. It's clearing the mind. So I'm just feeling this purple energy, particularly coming around my head space. So see if you can feel that too. And what it's trying to do is it's just deprogramming, is what it's saying, and letting go of what is causing the need for forgiveness in the first place. Yeah. So one pattern could very well be guilt, you know, guilt. People that put others before themselves usually have a high guilt thing going on. So we're letting go of that guilt and we're putting ourselves first. And I really feel as though working with the Zadkiel energy and the purple ray, over time, because it's not a one-shot quick fix, you know, we are re-establishing a new pattern, but we're letting go of the old one. So, you know, the angels can help you clear this mental clutter and old programming. But if you take yourself back into the old pattern, you can pull it back in. So it's your choice, you know, it's choice point, isn't it? So keep working to remove this. Now, one thing, again, another person I've been watching a lot of this week is Tony Robbins, who needs no introduction, I don't think, you know, although I was explaining who he was to my 18-year-old. She'd never heard of him, but, you know, his teachings are pretty timeless. And one part of Tony's work that I wanted to pull out, and I will link it below. Many of you, I'm sure, have watched Tony Robbins' work, and many of you might have even been and sat in one of his seminars, but it's where he's talking about priming. And my understanding of priming is it's very much linked into what I'm talking about here. So priming by nature is where we have the ability within ourselves to prime ourselves in a good way for the day that we are about to meet, for the week that we are about to have, for the year that we are about to have going forward. And he does this priming exercise every day to get himself into the right state so that everything he meets along the way during his day he can respond to from the place that he would like to be able to respond to, or at least give himself the best chance to respond in that way. From what I've seen, just a very brief overview of the video that I will link below, it was quite interesting for me because I was thinking, what is this priming thing? And then I realised he was actually using quite a lot of angelic frequency in it without calling it that. But it doesn't matter what anything is called, it's whether it works or not, isn't it? So he does an exercise where you're physically moving your body. You know, it's like breath work and using your body. So it's like breathing in a particular way, using your hands in a particular way. It's just moving effectively. Then he takes you into a place which is to do with gratitude, thinking about gratitude, thinking about your blessings, thinking about something which went particularly right in your life, using all of your senses to be able to feel that, see that, smell that, sense it again, bring it alive again within yourself. But then he does this exercise where effectively you're bringing down the white light. That to me was feeling very angelic. So you're bringing down the white light through your whole body, through all of your cells, all of your organs, all of the parts of you that might be feeling a little bit tense, challenged, whatever reason, down into the earth, back up again. You know, it's like a prana breath of white light going through you, above you, into you, out of you, back again. Just a beautiful, almost like a torus field type thing. But he also is talking about the fact that, you know, if you've got something that you need to do that you are worried about or anxious about, you then put all of this beautiful energy that you've built up via the white light, via the feelings of gratitude, via the feelings of blessings into that moment that is to come during the day. As I say, watch it for yourself. He takes you all the way through the exercise. But, you know, that's something I just noticed and I thought, yeah, that's a really good technique. That's a really good tool. I can use that. Because this is the whole thing. And I said this to my daughter this week, you know, get yourself a journal and write down just little things that strike you, whether it's something maybe I say in a video, it's what anybody says basically, or it could be somebody down the street or what you think yourself. Tools and technique journal, effectively. In many ways, I've called it my tool bag before, you know, and into my tool bag, I put sprays, crystals, affirmations, books, but it's energies as well. So I suppose the journal is just another aspect of that. One line that helped me and I thought was brilliant this week, again, I was watching Jay Shetty and he was talking to Tony Robbins. It was and Jay Shetty said something along I'll just tell you the line. It struck me. He said, we have two choices, either to slow down or up the focus on health. And he was talking about himself. He'd gone through a difficult period with his health when he came out of the monastery. And he said, I realised I had two choices. I either had to slow down or I had to up the focus on my health. That really spoke to me because especially as you get a little bit older, there is this, again, it's like I think it's something that's just in society. It's this innocuous, I'm being shown, you know, like Kaa in the Jungle Book, the snake, you know, the tempting sort of thing. Just slow down, just sit in that chair, just sit there and retire and vegetate. You don't have to do anything anymore. You know, you've only got a couple of decades and then you'll be dead. You know, it's that sort of energy. Like, just don't bother. No. Okay, I mean, your body does start to slow down. It starts to creak a bit and groan a bit and all the rest of it, ache a bit. But that to me just spoke so much. Like, I have two choices. Either I have to slow down or I have to up the focus on my health. Now, the sad reality is, and into health, I would put spiritual health, I would put mental health, I would put physical health. The sad thing is that a lot of people still won't do that. But from my perspective, on a spiritual channel, I would encourage you and myself to do exactly that, to do whatever it is that's going to help you get back into this state of balance. I will also say, and I don't think my daughter will mind me saying this, my 18-year-old at the moment is not off to college, you know, like a lot of people her age group, and she's just in this period which is about I feel it's about finding herself and giving herself space and time to do all the things I'm talking about, actually, to potter, to enjoy the sunrise, enjoy the sunset, do some baking, I don't know, sort her room out, read, draw, etc. And it's as though society judges that. And it's as though it's wrong, because whether you're 18 or whether you're 28 or whether you're 38 or whether you're 58, we as sentient beings live on an earth which has moments of pause. You know, anybody that's lived by the sea before or beside water, and I'm sure this is true of other elements, will tell you that there are some mornings you go out and everything is just completely still. Now, of course, there is stuff still happening in that stillness, because it's what I said at the beginning. Allowing yourself a period just to roll back and just to breathe and reset and be, without society saying, hold on a minute, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? You know, got this place to go, you got that place to go. Give yourself that moment, because in that moment where you feel as though nothing's really happening, everything is happening. Everything is happening. Just pause to think about that. Because we live in this world which is telling us to keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. What have you done today? Go to a dinner party, not that I ever do, thank God, anymore, but you know, in the old days, I'm sure it still goes on. What do you do? What do you do? It's not how it's doing. It's not being. It's about doing. What do you do? And then you're judged for what you do. Yeah? Or you're praised for what you do, or you're put on a scale of what you do. I don't think New Earth is like that. I think New Earth is about, well, it's about so many things, of course, but what I'm tuning into here is it's a state of being. It's a state of presence. It's a state of balance without any shadow of a doubt. Yeah, can you feel that? I really, really can feel that. I feel as though I want to bring in Archangel Raphael at this point with the green ray, because the green ray is about growth. It's about expansion. It's the analogy that I've said so many times here about the plant that's growing underneath the surface of the soil, but you can't even see it. You know, the bulb is sprouting. I mean, we're going into autumn and winter time now, so everything feels as though it's going dormant and dying off, but it's not. It's just coming back into its state of balance. Of course, we're quite near to equinox again, of course. So this video feels very timed, actually, to these energies. Let's bring in Raphael and see what Raphael wants to say. Or just be. He might just wish to be with us. Archangel Raphael, the green ray. And it smells so different from the others as well. Rootiness, earthiness, groundedness. And it's so interesting because when we think about growth within ourselves, within the world, within a plant, I think often people notice the blossom, they notice the green leaves, they notice the buds. But what I'm being shown by Raphael here is the roots and the structure and the strength that is needed to produce the fruit. So for this next phase of your life, whatever it is to be, for the fruits to bloom, you need this period of rest, recharge. I just keep wanting to just call it rolling back, just rolling back. And interestingly, another thing I've been looking at this week is the energy of the nervous system. And of course, we can't get away from the fact that when we're out of balance, often our nervous system is out of balance. I would say most people's nervous system is probably out of balance. Again, I'll link a couple of videos below if you find them helpful. But you can, Google yourself. There's a vast amount of information out there online about the nervous system. But just from a very basic level understanding, we've obviously got the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. It's made up of two different parts, as it were. And the sympathetic response is when it's the fight or flight type energy. And anybody that's suffering from anxiety, panic attacks, that type of thing, you're in that fight and flight type energy. But the body always has a way to be able to regulate it and get you back into balance. And it's the parasympathetic response within the body. And there are things that you can do to stimulate this parasympathetic response, so you're in that more of the time. And the parasympathetic response system, I'm just reading here, it says it it acts like a brake. It promotes the rest and the digest response that calms the body down after the danger has passed. Now, of course, if you're suffering from anxiety and panic attacks, sometimes the danger isn't actually that you're about to be knocked over by a truck or there's a lion about to pounce on you. It's just the fact that the nervous system is too overstimulated. It goes back to what I was saying at the start. We're living in this world of noise, lights, camera, action, all of this. It's just constant. So the more that you can just calm down the nervous system and get yourself more readily into this parasympathetic response, the better. And there are a number of different ways that you can do this. Meditation would absolutely be one. I've also been looking at the vagus nerve, and again, these are topics in their own right that probably deserve a whole video. And there are experts much better than me that can talk to you about this type of stuff. So all I'm going to do today is just be a gatekeeper energy who just points you in the right direction. Okay, so things that I'm talking about in this video: parasympathetic response, vagus nerve. I will link some videos below, and you can do your own research and see what resonates, see what doesn't. But in terms of the vagus nerve, a few things I've written down here, really simple things. You see, I like simplicity. It's always been what I've been shown by the angels: keep it simple, keep it simple, keep it simple. So to help stimulate the vagus nerve, you can do things like gargling with water, nostril breathing, chanting, singing, cold therapy. There's things you can do with eye movements, which can help as well. None of this feels very difficult to do, but it's about rolling back. It's about calming things down. I really would like you to pay attention to how you get up in the morning and how you go about your day. And you might be shocked at how much stimulation you're bringing in, which is setting your nervous system into overdrive that you're not even realizing is doing it. So one example could be, in the morning, are you switching on your phone and going straight for, I don't know, the type of videos which are sort of the fear porn, oh my God, this is about to happen. What's going to happen next? Because that's the dopamine hit, We're all hooked in to a degree. We're all addicts to a degree. Society is wanting to make us addicted. Social media is very linked into this as well, done irresponsibly. We all know the teachers and the readers out there who are like hooking us in to the next bit of drama, the next bit of gossip. It might be interesting, and I find it interesting myself as well from time to time, but again, you can only really view that type of material if you're feeling strong enough to, you're feeling balanced, and your nervous system is feeling okay. Because if you're already overstimulated, what it's going to do is it's going to tip you over the edge. You don't even realize it's tipping you over the edge until you get to a point where you're like flatlining, and you're feeling unwell, or you can't go out your front door, or whatever else is happening. So first thing in the morning, switch off all these high drama things that you might be watching or listening to. Choose something. It's about putting your body first. It really is, because the mind and the ego is always wanting attention. The mind and the ego is always wanting, feed me, feed me, feed me, and often it does want the drama. We don't even realize we're addicted to it. We're all addicted to the drama to a degree. So we have to untrain ourselves, basically. It's about putting, what Metatron is saying, it's putting the egoic mind on a leash, because you can't get rid of your ego. The egoic mind is always going to be there. It's always going to be a part of you. We're living in a world right now which is high ego, high drama. So it's about putting it on a leash like you would a dog, okay, and being able to control it, consuming it when you want to consume it. Metatron gave me a great analogy this morning, actually, with regards to what we digest in terms of what we view. We all know the stuff, don't we? YouTube's a great place, sort of I don't know, the shock headlines in terms of, oh my God, I've just seen this is about to happen in the next year, and it's like the horrified face type thing, it's just ridiculous really. But anyway, some of us fall for it. I fall for it sometimes, and you get hooked into it. And Metatron gives this analogy. It's a bit like a diet, okay? Your diet, ultimately, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. This is just, if you want to be healthy, this is the truth. Your diet most of the time should be healthy stuff, okay? I butt my head against the wall against this sometimes and want to not do it. But, I know that I feel better when I'm eating healthily and I'm looking after my body. So you have a healthy diet most of the time. You can consume some of the naughties, as I call them, from time to time. But if you're doing it all the time, it's going to rot your teeth. If you're consuming that high dopamine hit, oh my God, have you heard this type energy via videos, it's going to start rotting your mind, okay? And it's definitely going to start rotting your nervous system. So, just getting some wholesome staples. Hopefully I am a wholesome staple. I would like to think I'm a wholesome staple. I mean, from time to time, of course, we've got to do the stuff that's going on in the world, but I like to try and balance it out with stuff like this, because it's just, to me, it's what Metatron's shown me is it's like the symphony. You have to know when to play the right notes in the right order, etc. Right. Is there anything else I want to say on this video? I'll pull a couple of cards to end with, but effectively that was my message today. I also felt it was interesting that this whole reset and conversation came in as seasons are changing, certainly in my part of the world. Now, I know some of you live in countries where the seasons don't really change very much, but certainly where I am, we have got 4 pretty well-defined seasons. And actually, it's quite nice today. But yeah, autumn's definitely coming. It's getting cold. And again, just giving yourself the time and the space to be able to change with the seasons, because the trees give themselves that time to shed their leaves, to do whatever they need to do, The animals take their time to do what they need to do, to store their nuts if they're squirrels, etc. But we just sometimes don't give ourselves the time. And again, the Scandish Home YouTube channel, I just love the fact she was like preparing a house for autumn, preparing her house for summer, preparing a house for winter. I definitely, over the years, especially maybe a few years ago, I've had to work hard to get to where I am, and I don't regret it. But there would be like seasons would come and seasons would go, and especially Christmas time, I would often notice it. I hadn't quite got the house like I wanted it to look. And it was like, oh, it doesn't really matter, it's good enough. But it's like, no, but there was a part of me where it did matter. I did want it to look a little bit just festive. And it wasn't to do with putting up the decorations so much. It was about being in tune with the changing season and honouring it. So by honouring the changing seasons, you're also honouring the changes within yourself. Definitely at the start of this week that I'm really describing to you, it started with the rain hammering down on the window, waking up, pulling up the blind, another grey day, rain. I just thought, oh God, actually what I said to myself was, you've got to get your head around this, because winter's coming and it's another 6 months potentially of this type of stuff. So you can either go and hide underneath the duvet and feel sorry for yourself, or you can make the best of this season. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make the best of the seasons. We're trying to make the best of the weeks and the days that we have. And we can only do that by being in this balanced state, okay? This balanced state. So I do hope that this has helped today. I did feel as though I would pull a card from the Metatron deck, which I will do now, and just see what comes through. I mean, to be honest, there's so many cards in this deck that are probably relevant. Priorities would be one. But actually, the one that's come through today is... Priorities is the second card from the bottom. Okay, so we have got the Priorities card. I'll show you that, which is literally you've got to get your ducks in a row, as it were. Okay, and this is true, you see, with regards to spirituality. Unless you've got the basic foundation set well and in balance, you can't reach these higher places anyway. So, and remember the red is the base chakra. Base chakra is about your health, okay, which includes your mind as well. So priorities, and in this it says priorities are the building blocks for life. We have got the detach from drama card. Detach from all the nonsense. Do we really need to always have to respond to everything we disagree with, for example, or everything that's been, presented to us in the news, designed to get a reaction? Or can we go about creating change in a more subtle, different way? By being we can still engage, but it's about not getting into the dense energies and the energies that they're trying to feed us that become particles within us. So it's about observing. I'm being shown the energy of a march. You could still go on a march, for example, if you want to protest about something, but you're not the one that's, lobbing a stone or a brick or, spouting horrible rhetoric out of your mouth. Not that you would be, I know, but that type of thing. You're just there. All you need to do is hold a placard up. Your presence is enough. So it's about that observing and presence, but from a place of strength, detaching from the drama. A lot of other people can't respond in the way that you potentially can. What comes after that is the new dawn and the dimensional gateway. But the card that actually was on the bottom of the deck was this one, which is the Tree of Life. So it's as though, to be able to flow and move through life. And remember, the Tree of Life is the blueprint down from spirit. We go through all the different parts of the tree, the different experiences. Sometimes we get stuck on a particular place, but ultimately there's all these different pathways, but they all essentially lead us down here to Earth, Malkuth, where we're meant to be, to experience this. And as a light worker, I also feel part of our job is to bring balance to this unbalanced Earth. So the more that we can do to do that, we are helping Mother Earth, we're helping Gaia, we're helping the ascension process. We're not just helping ourselves. And then, of course, it's also the journey back. It's the journey backward. Interestingly, in my street, an old lady died last week, and I didn't know her, but I could see her house from where I sit in my office, literally just over there. And, I could see them clearing out the house this week and taking away the old bed that she'd had and etc. And my cleaner used to work for her. So I had said to my cleaner this week, could you feel her presence in the house? And she said no. She said she's totally gone. She said I couldn't feel her at all. And I thought, good for you, love, because she's exited all of the dramas. But during her life, I think she was quite into all the dramas, right up to the end, actually. So, maybe she just had enough of it. But ultimately, we don't really. What I'm trying to say is that rest in peace to her. I hope she's at peace now. But for us, it's about trying to find peace whilst we're here, okay? Before we travel back up, we're all going to travel back up to spirit. But whilst we're here and we're navigating all these different experiences, which also include people, they include lessons, they include challenges, we need to do so as much as we can from a place of balance. We've also got the card of the void, which is that when you actually don't know the answer, go within. Okay, when you don't know the next step, go within. When you feel out of sorts, roll back, pull back your energies, rest, recharge, potter, catch your breath. I'm going to leave it there. Take great care. Thank you very much for watching this video. I appreciate you. I appreciate your support. And I will be back very soon. Lots of love, everybody. Take care. Thanks for watching. Sending everybody a big kiss. Bye for now. Bye.